This episode of the Party Loaded podcast is proudly sponsored by Audible.com. Check out their awesome catalogue of audiobooks with over 180,000 titles to choose from. And be sure to grab a free audiobook on us and support the show by visiting audibletrial.com/endgame.
Let's party.
Hey everybody, it is Wednesday the 10th of July, it's the evening, it is Party Loaded time. We're here to chat about everything great in the world of video games. My name is Luke Retallick, joined tonight by, we have Christian Paulson Brown, we have Adrian Chia, and we've got Matt, otherwise known as the Game Dad Diet. Welcome, gents. What's going on?
Yay!
Hello.
Hello,
Yay.
tasty listeners.
Tasty,
Tasty
delicious.
listeners.
Yes.
The fuck?
Every week
Okay.
there'll be a new adjective to describe our listeners.
Sure. Well,
I'm
no, you go,
not
Matt.
putting any listeners in my mouth.
Well, you know.
That's our new contest.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
We're the
No,
only winners.
Jesus. All right. Well, I guess it's kind of on theme with some Pokemon-related discussion we're going to have later because, that creamy Pokemon goodness. Let's.
Goodness, Luke.
Wow.
Wait,
What's this Pokemon news?
that'll make a bit of sense later. Anyway, so I've just gotten back from a little bit of a break this week, and I think for the year of 2019, this may in fact be the week that I've played the least video games ever, and I am super fucking antsy about it. Like, I really want to play a lot of stuff this weekend to make up for it.
Yeah.
So,
I know that feeling.
yeah, you've been bogged down with the works and all that sort of stuff. But look, I have, just kicking into sort of what's played this week discussion, I have had a bit of time to sink my teeth into Judgment a little bit more. So this is the game of the Yakuza ilk that I spoke a little bit about last week. So a couple of additional observations about this game besides the basics that I covered on the last episode is that there's a couple of interesting sort of detective-like features that have crept into the game that make it quite a bit different to some of the past Yakuza titles. Like your main character, Tak, who's sort of, you're a private investigator, former lawyer, sort of become a bit of a renegade, if you like. A couple of the things that he does, which is actually quite interesting, is you run around and when you're actually trailing certain dudes, like you're on you're on the beat trying to follow somebody to get evidence or basically intimidate them into giving you information or something like that. There's this weird kind of like face recognition sort of mini game that you do within Judgment where you can kind of have a list of the features of someone that you're trailing or trying to locate, and you can actually scan different faces in the crowd to match up those things and actually pinpoint the person that you're trying to follow. But the thing that I find really weird about it is that when you do it, you effectively plant your feet and you can't zoom the camera in and out. Like, it's literally just panning around without kind of being able to look a bit further. So I had this interesting situation where, like, one of the faces that I was trying to pick, one of the features on that face was like a mole on the forehead or something like that. And there was absolutely no possible way you could get an angle on this face to actually reveal that particular feature. And when you sort of make your selection and sort of say, yes, it's this guy, then it kind of just ticks the box anyway. I'm just like, that's a bit weird. So why give me information that I can't actually physically use? But I don't know. It's kind of odd. You and to make things even weirder, one of the tools you actually got at your disposal in this game is actually a drone. So you can use this drone to actually look at stuff from above and sort of take photos of things and zoom in on suspects as you're wandering around. It's almost like Yakuza's finally caught up with the current year as opposed to being stuff in like the 80s or 90s, which is a little bit jarring, I have to say. So yeah. But I don't know. Drones seem to be like an ever-present theme in a lot of freaking games these days. It's
They're everywhere. They're not just in games. They're just all through pop culture. And if you want to show that something is technologically advanced, give it drones.
Yeah. I
if you're
don't
trying
know
to-
how I feel about that.
I probably want
it's
right
sort of
above
like-
you at this moment. You don't even know.
Well, unless it can see through solid ceiling, I don't kind of fucking care.
Well,
Although that being said,
yeah.
It's sort of like the modern version of bows being in games all the time at the moment. Like,
yeah.
we just have drones turning up in modern themed games because drones are cool in much the same way that bows are cool.
I thought you were about to say, Matt, we just have drones turning up at my house and photographing me in the pool.
We have drones turning up at my house with bows.
Oh god,
Jesus.
Reach peak saturation.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. Like, don't you think that every year almost there's like a theme in games that kind of pops up? Like last year, I think it was the theme of the cybernetic arm. There was like so many games with like a main character with like a cybernetic arm for some reason. It just all happened at once. There's like a saturation of it. This year seems to be drones. Like between this and the Ghost Recon stuff and just, there's at least a couple others that have popped up during the year. It's just become like a recent thing. It's weird. But,
I think
year before last, it was dads. Like,
yeah.
You had all these games with dads in them.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be an interesting thought exercise. I'm not suggesting we do it tonight, but like to actually go back over some of the past years and see if we can work out like a bizarre theme for the year. Yeah. Anyway, so that's Judgment. I haven't had heaps more time with it. I reckon I'm only about a third of the way through the game, so plenty more content to get through. But I can't claim to have spent a lot more else on anything other than Destiny 2 this week. But yeah, what about you guys? Adrian, what have you been cracking on with this week? Anything interesting?
So my wife was away in Adelaide for a conference, and I was home alone and had nothing to stop me from gorging myself on Sekiro further. And I ended up playing through it 3 more times.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So hang on, we were joking last week about this, but you've actually gone ahead and fucking done what we joked about.
Yes,
So-
but Christian will understand that it's not as intense as it sounds, like as you just kind of say it casually, because I broke it down. My first playthrough of the game was between 60 to 70 hours.
Mm-hmm.
My second playthrough of the game was 8 hours, and then the next 2 playthroughs were under 5 hours each. So once you beat the game first and experience everything in the game, a lot of that time is spent like getting collectibles and upgrading your stats, and upgrading your health, and obtaining all the little knickknacks. The other playthroughs are purely just to see the alternate endings of the game, of which there are 4 different endings.
Mm-hmm.
And once you have collected all those little knickknacks, there's zero reason for you to fight anything other than the major bosses of the game, which you can literally just run directly to. So there's very few other fights that block you off between boss fights. There's like the occasional mini boss that will literally wall off an area that you need to kill to get through, but the majority of the game you can literally just run from major boss to major boss to major boss. So in the end, and by that point you've gotten pretty good at killing bosses because you've learned their patterns so well. So by the time I got to that last playthrough, it was only about 5 hours and I managed to get through the whole game.
So I do have one important question though, and this is probably more a question for Christian. Christian, if Adrian finishes this game more times than you, are you going to have to up him?
No, I wouldn't care. But also, I think that for that ending reason, I think four is the magic number. I think you'd agree, Adrian.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and like again, I'm not one for achievements, but because I love the game so much, I was like, oh, maybe I should just get all the achievements because I've played it so much. I may as well. There's one remaining achievement which I won't bother with, and it's to get every skill in the game.
Right.
And that's purely because in order to get enough skill points to fill out the tech tree, I would need to grind for hours to do that. And I'm like, fuck it. I've already ground the game for 80 hours over the last 5 days. I'm not gonna do any more grinding. I'll come back and do that later. So, but that's that. I mean, yeah, I won't talk more about Sekiro. It's fantastic, and yeah, obviously, having played through the game 4 times, I would recommend it to anyone. The other thing I did dip into briefly was Slay the Spire.
Yay!
And only because my Xbox Game Pass, I went in to cancel it, and I noticed that it's still valid for like a week or 2. And I thought, is there anything else on that list I want to try before I kind of forget about Game Pass for a while? And Slay the Spire was on there, and I was like, okay, I know that you guys played it as a party game of the month. I should probably check it out. It's good. I like it. I don't like the art style. It turns me right off the game. So the game itself is good, and I like the gameplay. It's a bit harder than a lot of other roguelites that I play, mainly because it's got that kind of Hearthstone-y card element to it. So it's a bit more cerebral and a bit less kind of twitchy, which is normally how my roguelites end up being.
It reminds me a lot of the Hearthstone dungeon runs, actually.
Yeah, I guess, it kind of feels that way. It just means that like because the actions you can do per turn are based on the cards that you draw and they all combo off each other, there's obviously like an optimal way to take to do actions on your turn. And that's good if that's what you're in the mood for. But having just played Sekiro, I was kind of in more of a twitchy, fighty kind of mode. And so I still enjoyed it, and I'm in the middle of a run. I was playing it just before we jumped on to record. But yeah, I must say the art style I really don't like it. There's something about it that really turns me off. But I understand that it's a small indie game, and that's part of its charm. So if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But that's it. That's all I've played this week, is just polishing off Sekiro and a little bit of Slay the Spire. Oh, and sorry, Risk of Rain 2 had a major update.
Ooh.
So I played a little bit of that today. They added a new character and a new area and some new items. So I went in and had a little bit of play around there. So yeah, that tops me off for the week.
They got any sort of projected date on when that's going to be properly out of early access? Or
I don't know. It's kind of like that funny thing where I'm not really across early access and its inner workings. But Risk of Rain 2 is basically a finished game. It's just short. I don't know. When does something not be in early access anymore? When is it just a small game? I don't know.
Some games have a very clear about when they're projecting, to release something fully. Others are super nebulous about it. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm
is
not sure.
Chasey out of early access yet?
Yeah. No idea.
I'm not even kidding.
No idea. Yeah,
but it is really one of those things where it's it's up to the developers when they say that the game's complete, and that's the problem with early access, is that you could be one of those developers that says the game's never truly finished, so let's never leave.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. Matt, did you do anything sort of game-wise this week, or you?
Yes.
Yeah. What'd you get up to?
Yeah, I did. So I am going to briefly mention Destiny 2, because last week we finally had Strange Terrain roll around for the Nightfall.
Yep.
Which was the last thing I needed to get my Wayfarer title. So I did a whole bunch of runs of that, got my rocket launcher, got my Wayfarer title, immediately ordered the medallion. So now that's on the way.
So this is something I only just learned about, which shocked me, because I was kind of shocked that I hadn't picked up on this before. So there's actual physical medals you can order, which are only available to you when you complete these titles in-game. And what are there, 9 or 10 of them or something?
Yeah, and they keep on adding more every season. So the most recent season, they just added a title that was the Shadow title.
Yep.
And yeah, it's there's so many of them in the game now. So Wayfarer is basically for exploring and doing a whole bunch of different things in the game world. It's a pretty lengthy list. It's pretty heavy on the randomness. You kind of have to do a whole bunch of things a bunch of times over. So a lot of work to kind of get that unlocked. Every single title is a lot of work. So I'm super happy I got that. I'm working on the Chronicler title now, which is the lore-based ones. There's all these different lore entries you have to pick up. Some of them are only available once every 3 weeks.
Oh, those ones. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really interesting. Somebody pulled statistics that basically shows how many people actually have these. And it's only 4% of the population playing Destiny 2 have Wayfarer. And that's one of the more easy to obtain titles. I say easy with finger quotes, because there's a lot of work and a lot of randomness kind of involved in unlocking that. But some of the other ones are just insane.
I've looked at a bunch of the requirements. They're freaking hard. And I think that's actually the appeal. The fact that if you have one of these things, and well done to you for actually getting it. If you have one of these things, it is a serious feather in the cap. You put the yards in to get there, and that's massively impressive. So yeah,
there's some absolutely insane people out there that I've seen on the Destiny Reddit. They have actually showed their screenshot in game of all of the titles claimed.
Wow.
And their collection of all the medallions. They must only play Destiny 2. It's insane.
Moly, yeah. But the thing I appreciate is that it's not just mindless grinding. A lot of the things are just exploring the game properly and doing a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's amazing.
That's basically the Chronicler title. Most of it is exploring the game world and finding those hidden little lore items and doing the once every 3 weeks thing. And some of the other ones are... Wayfarer's got a lot of randomness, as I say, but then you have titles like Reckoner, which is just doing a whole bunch of Gambit Prime. So if you love Gambit Prime and Gambit, you can totally get that title. It just takes time.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, other than that, I was only briefly mentioning Destiny 2 because the other thing I finally got back into was Stellaris.
Yep.
I haven't actually booted it up in a long time. The most recent story pack came out, which is this Ancient Relic story pack, which adds in all these excavation sites to the game where you can find stories from all these far gone empires. And it's really interesting because it kind of gives you a new role for your science ships to do. Mm-hmm. So rather than just, setting them on, okay, we'll just automate exploration, I'm just going to forget you exist. Now you can basically be like, well, I'm going to, keep this ship on automated exploration. I'm going to put this ship on going and excavating all of these planets around my territory that have ancient ruins on them. And some of the stories are really, really good and super fascinating. There was this one planet that I was excavating where it was these rat people that were fighting over some relic that, the descriptions of it were pretty silly and zany. And then at the end of that plot line, when my team had finally retrieved the relic and were trying to get off the planet, a freaking dragon, like an actual dragon, came out of nowhere and snatched it back from them and then crushed the ship.
A space dragon.
And now there's a space dragon. There is a space dragon just floating around that planet now, and it's massively powerful, and I have to get my fleet powered up so I can go and take it out.
Okay. Stellaris has changed since I played.
Oh, there's a bunch of shit like that in the game now. Space dragons are actually not that uncommon. Would you be surprised?
Huh.
Just like real life.
Yeah.
Just like real life. But yeah, no, I've been playing one of my robot empires again because I enjoy my robots and how interesting they are to kind of play as. There's apparently a diplomacy update on the way, which should make robots a much more interesting kind of thing to play. But no, it's been good. It's just kind of been getting back into it. Much like riding a bike, once I got back into Stellaris again, I picked it up really quickly. But mind you, it's also dramatically changed. Like pretty much every system in that game has changed compared to the release version of the game. It's like a whole new game.
Mm.
So yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to getting back into that. I'd be playing that tonight if we weren't podcasting. So thanks, guys.
Does your robot empire have drones? That's the important question.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. All right, well, Christian, maybe a question for you. What do you think the over-under is of Matt actually remembering to come and podcast next week as opposed to being stuck in Stellaris?
I think he'll send a robot in his place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Who says I'm not?
Yeah.
That's right.
What do you know, man?
I just wanted to say quickly, that Destiny 2 medal thing, that sounds actually pretty cool. Like, I have very little interest in going back and playing more Destiny 2, but as a thing, that sounds really cool. And, like, if I was like a kid or like younger, that would be so fucking exciting to me. And like, I'd feel so cool when I'd bring it to school and I'd show it off and everyone would be like, you fucking nerd.
Yeah.
But, I don't know,
basically,
like,
just turn that into like the adult equivalent of the exact same thing, and that is what is happening right now.
yeah, I'm sure. Like, it's it just sounds really cool.
I'll just add really quickly. One of the really neat things about that, which totally appeals to me as a nerd, that when you get the medallion, you get this little card that's actually written to you by one of the characters.
Oh, that's awesome.
Characterly acknowledging it. It's super cool. It's really cute.
Does the character send you like nude photos of them as well, like Polaroids?
Probably if the Drifter sends you the card, yes.
Yes.
That's all I really want.
But I have been playing more Divinity Original Sin 2. I've gotten further than I had when I dropped the game last time, and I'm really, 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 really enjoying it. I was
Christian, when you started playing again recently, did you start all over again, or did you pick up from an old save?
Started all over again because I couldn't load my saves if I wanted to because I'm playing Definitive Edition now, so they were not compatible.
Okay.
But I'm super enjoying it, and I was tweeting a little bit today about how it's putting me back in the mindset of when I did play Baldur's Gate 2 back in the year 2000, so nearly 20 years ago now.
Holy
and how like
shit. That's a long time.
It's
oh my
a long
God.
time ago. It's 19 years ago. It's crazy. And I was just talking about how like that style of game, I'd forgotten how much of like a game changer it was for me playing it, and how there were so many things that like I experienced for the first time in Baldur's Gate 2, like that level of character depth between your party members and the like open world nature, but it felt so everything, all the consequences were so real, like character permadeath, and like it didn't feel like a game where you just pop in and it wasn't like an arcadey, it was like this big long like D&D campaign, and having not played D&D, I hadn't experienced like that sort of IRL version of that before. So yeah, Baldur's Gate 2 was a really remarkable game, and Original Sin 2 is recapturing that for me, and I'm loving it.
I'm wondering genuinely how many people played the early Baldur's Gate games and actually got into D&D as a result of playing the video games. That would be very interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely something that motivated me to give real D&D a try. I actually, at the time, before I played Baldur's Gate 2, I thought Dungeons & Dragons was a video game because there was the arcade D&D. There's a D&D arcade game. Like a and I thought that was what Dungeons and Dragons was whenever I heard people talk about it, and then I only realized it was this pen and paper thing after I played Baldur's Gate 2. So Anna was talking about it, but yeah.
In this day and age, though, like I wouldn't be surprised even if it did a complete like reverse. And considering how much of a renaissance D&D is going through at the moment, if people sort of got into video gaming as a result of Baldur's Gate that actually already play D&D.
Yeah, I reckon it goes both ways for sure.
Yeah. Oh man, super weird. Yeah. Nice.
The other big thing that I've been playing that I wanted to talk a little bit about, so strap in for a few minutes, is auto battlers. So auto battlers, this is like the hot new genre that all the kids are playing on the Twitch. So like every so often you get these giant new genres, like you had MOBAs and battle royales, and now you've got auto battlers. And I'll try and explain briefly how the games actually work, but it's kind of complicated. But essentially, you guys will remember Domina, the party game of the month we played. It's very similar to that in a way, where it's all about recruiting a team of characters that fight automatically based on AI. And it's a multiplayer game. So there are 8 people in a game of an auto battler. And it's round based, so you go through sequential rounds where everybody drafts heroes to go on their team, and then you play, and then a round automatically plays out where you're paired against another one of the 8 people, and your team of heroes automatically battles the other team of heroes, and you win or lose depending on a number of factors. And then it's the next round, you're given more heroes that you can draft from. You're accruing gold as you go. And so you can choose to like spend the gold early or save the gold. And there's a number of decision points along the way that influence your success rate. And all of the auto battlers too have a class system. So similar to like a collectible card game like Magic the Gathering, where there's different types. You want to kind of synergize where you'll get a bunch of summoner heroes or a bunch of wild heroes or a bunch of knight heroes. And by having multiple of the same like color, same type, they get a cumulative bonus. And it goes round and round and round until players get knocked out. You have an overall health total, and every time you lose a round, your overall health decreases. And it's very different to anything I'd really played before. And I do enjoy auto battlers, but I feel like it's like it occupies the same kind of slot as Hearthstone, where it's a game that you need to play a lot, like and really understand the meta and learn the meta. So I don't know if I've got like the dedication in me to actually commit to one. But so I'll also just quickly mention I played the 3 big ones. So that's Dota Underlords, Auto Chess, and Teamfight Tactics. So the original one was Auto Chess, which started as a mod to Dota. Which is funny because Dota originally started as a mod to Warcraft 3. So it's kind of multiple generations down. But that game now, like the original Dota Auto Chess mod is definitely really archaic now when you compare it to the other ones. It's missing a lot of quality of life features, and there's really no point in playing that mod version, even though it is still populated. And then there's a funny story where the developer of the mod actually had a meeting. Valve invited them to fly out. They're in China, and they went to Valve and had a sit-down meeting with them to negotiate like a deal. And the auto chess guys declined whatever Valve offered and said, no, we're gonna make our own version. And so now they've stopped developing the mod, and they've created a mobile version of it that is standalone, and it's all like legally distinct from Dota. So all the characters in it are like just legally enough that they're not the Dota characters to get away with it. And then the mod version has ads in it saying like, download the mobile game. So they're clearly like pushing people off the mod into the mobile game. And they are going to be releasing a PC version of their new version of their own game. But it's just really strange that people who don't have, from what I can tell, they're not really established in the industry to have declined an offer from Valve. They must have been pretty confident in their own abilities.
I reckon they would have been more confident in the fact that if Valve was actually going to mount a competitor, that it probably would have taken years and years for them to actually do it. Things happening in Valve time. So, but then it didn't, and then Valve came out with their own Dota Underlords. Yeah. So and that must have surprised them. So Dota Underlords is a very similar to the auto chess, but more quality of life improvements and more sort of streamlined. And then Teamfight Tactics is the League of Legends version, so from Riot Games. It's got a lot of the League heroes in it, and it has a couple of unique elements. And it's the only one of the three that has an overall progression system to it. So it has like a battle pass system where you have an XP bar that fills up, and you can get custom little avatars and custom arena skins and stuff. So it seems to be the most popular, and I think with Riot behind it, it's probably going to be it and Underlord's going to be neck and neck. But I have a feeling Teamfight Tactics will be the winner, especially because Underlords doesn't have any overall progression yet. So yeah, that's definitely a big appeal of Teamfight. Underlords does seem to have like a pocket of enthusiasm for it though, because correct me if I'm wrong, but Underlords actually has a mobile version as well. Is that right?
I'm not sure. I think I don't know, to be honest. I know that Auto Chess, the mod, has that mobile version I mentioned. I don't know if Underlords does. It may do. I don't know. You probably know.
I will look it up while you're chatting.
Yeah. What's kept me playing Teamfight Tactics is actually a lot of the Twitch people that I know in the Hearthstone scene have become quite bored of Hearthstone and have switched to playing Teamfight Tactics. So there's like one streamer in particular who I hang out in his channel a lot, Navi, and he's been playing Teamfight, and I've been jumping in lobbies with him and queuing up with him, and that's been fun, having like a community aspect to it as well. But I think without that, I wouldn't be playing it anymore. But yeah.
I can confirm it is on mobile.
Cool. All right, there you go.
Yep.
Underlords, yeah. I do recommend that people give it a try. They're all free. So yeah, give it a try. If you've already got a preference for Dota or League, then take your pick. But if you don't have any preference, I'd recommend Teamfight Tactics. So
yeah. It sounds like playing one of those MOBAs is kind of your gateway drug to auto chess, which I think is why it doesn't interest me at all.
Well, it's funny. It's happening in the reverse for me, where I've been playing Teamfight Tactics and seeing the League of Legends heroes and being like, oh, that you know. I wonder how those heroes actually play in League, and I've been tempted to go and play the MOBA because of Teamfight. So it's
I used to play League back in the day.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Me too. Christian, I think Matt and I can possibly both tell you don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah,
it is. It's probably improved, but it was salty as hell even with friends.
Oh man, it is the most toxic gaming environment I've ever experienced in my life. Yeah,
that's a good thing about these. Auto battlers is you play them solo. They're not team based, so there's no real saltiness there. So
yeah, that's probably a big appeal. Cool.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I'm curious on the relationship, if there is one, between there's been a rise and a surge in mobile games that are labelled as idle mobile games, and the connection between that and the sort of auto chess genre, because there seems to be some similarities in this kind of hands-off kind of approach in a couple of things. I know that the auto battlers genre does have lots of decisions to be made, and you're present in the game the whole time. You don't turn it off or anything like that. But I don't know. They both seem to have surged at the same time. I wonder what the relationship is between them, if there is one. I play quite a lot of mobile games, and I've noticed that the market has been flooded lately with this idle genre, and I'm just curious if it's the same.
Yeah. The whole concept of an idle game reminds me of that whole Pokemon sleep aspect again. It's like play when you're not playing kind of thing. So yeah. People just like the idea of time that they have available to them actually being productive in some way, regardless of whether they're hands-on with the game or not. They just don't want that time wasted because it's like a resource. Yeah.
I actually feel like these auto battlers, they're quite high pressure. I don't feel like there's a lot of idle time for me, because it is like round based, it's on a timer, and so all the decisions you have to make pretty quickly. And then, so yeah, I know what you mean about how like the core of the heroes themselves when they battle, that's automatic. But it's not the kind of thing you can like step away from and leave on a timer, that sort of anything like that.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, we're on a timer, so let's kick into some news.
Now it's time to hear some gaming news. Time for some gaming news.
So we've had a pretty big event happen in the last week. So those familiar with my penchant for Warframe will be unsurprised that I've kept somewhat abreast of the news that's been happening. Like we have E3 and like we have BlizzCon every year, the team at Digital Extremes have their own convention known as Tennocon. So Tennocon is named after the player character that you embody in Warframe is called a Tenno. So Tennocon is surprisingly big. It's got a huge dedicated fan base. And every year they have like a really big sort of costume competition and events, and it's huge sponsors. It's a pretty big convention from what I can see. This Tennocon has been massive, and there have been some really great announcements that have come out of it with some really exciting content. For those of you who are really interested in Warframe, you may know some of these already and be excited by them. If you're not familiar with Warframe, I'll just summarize them in ways that are probably digestible to everyone. So the big ones that have been announced are an expansion known as Empyrean. Empyrean is sort of another name for what was commonly being referred to as Railjack for quite a while. And Railjack, or Empyrean, is a style of team-based raid sort of combat that they're introducing into Warframe. And it involves multiple parties and a lot of sort of teamwork and multiple teams achieving multiple objectives to meet one goal together. So it's got kind of a raid feel, but it seems to be touted as like a real big step forward in connecting players in Warframe. So it's got a really great queuing system. It's they're making it really easy for people to jump in together and to start one of these sort of Railjack missions and to keep it going. And it looks like it's going to be sort of on par with what you might expect from like a Destiny raid or something like that. So that's a pretty big announcement, and that's pretty exciting, especially because you get to own and customize your own spaceship called a Railjack.
This is what appeals to me. This sounds so dope.
Yeah, it's pretty wicked. Like, and there's even like a new area in the game that's like a huge spacecraft hangar, and you get to like get together with your mates and make a spaceship and then take it out on missions together. Sounds pretty cool. So that's pretty exciting. One of the other announcements was something called the Duviri Paradox, which is basically the announcement of a new open world. So those familiar with Warframe will know of Plains of Eidolon and Orb Cetus, which are the two open world environments that were added to Warframe. So Duviri Paradox is adding another open world, but more exciting is they're actually adding a new enemy faction to the game as well.
Fucking time. This is the one thing I think the game needed more than anything else. So
the game has a good variety of enemies, but only sort of three, you could argue four main factions, although the fourth is kind of comprised up of existing enemy models from the other three. So this looks like a new original faction with their own design, very Warframe in style, with a very biomechanic kind of look to them, very kind of ethereal and ghosty, so it looks kind of cool, and it looks like it'll be going hand in hand with like a new open world area too. So also exciting. For those interested in the Warframe story, there is some more new story content on the way. So I can't remember what the name of the last one was, but it did leave us on a very big cliffhanger with a particular character in the Warframe lore kind of disappearing from the game, and people were, very attached to that character. And it's actually voiced by one of the community leaders, so one of the staff community engagement team. So she's quite beloved.
Space Mum.
It is Space Mum. They refer to her colloquially as Space Mum because she fills that kind of mentory role. And yeah, at the end of there was something that happened to her at the end of last story content, so people have been hanging out to find out what happened, and that's going to be coming soon as well. So it's advertised for Christmas this year, so that's pretty cool. And the other minor announcement was, well, I say minor, but it's still a huge content announcement, was the announcement of a new Nightwave series. So Nightwave is basically the battle pass system for Warframe, but it's I've said it before, but this kind of Nightwave system is far, far less exploitative than a lot of the other Battle Pass systems I've seen out there that you see in like Fortnite and stuff like that. So yeah, Series 2 Nightwave is on the way. That's also going to be awesome because, again, more story content.
I think that's live now, actually. I think it just went live.
Is it? There you go. Yeah, cool. And I mean, all of this just highlights why Warframe does so well, because it's just all this like massive new content, and it's all free that people can access. So pretty cool. Probably one of the really exciting announcements from Tennocon was Digital Extremes want to send someone into space so that people can become an official space ninja. So what this amounts to essentially is they're willing to contribute $250,000 to a winner to help get them up into space. So I haven't read into the details on how you enter the competition, but it does have something to do with logging into the game. So
is that through Virgin Galactic? Is that what they're planning on doing?
Is it? I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't have that info, unfortunately. Okay. But I know that... I
was going to say, if there was one of you three that would know more about this than anyone, I would have assumed that Christian would at least have a handle on the kind of cost involved in actually getting someone to space. Do you have any idea?
Virgin Galactica, that's like Richard Branson's crew. They're the closest to sending tourists to space. They've been taking deposits already, and they just announced like yesterday that their company's going to be publicly what's it called? Listed, publicly traded. But I don't know, like if they're still not planning on actually getting anybody up for like 10 more years. So I don't know what Tennocon what are they playing with there?
Yeah.
Massive publicity stunt is what they're playing at.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was who was it that sent copies of their game? Andromeda. So BioWare, did they send copies of Mass Effect Andromeda into space?
Yeah,
I think I remember hearing that.
I think there's a lot of people who thought that they probably should have shot the rest of them into the sun, but I don't know.
Wow, that's rude.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. I mean, it's kind of, it'll be interesting to see what it kind of culminates in, but it's kind of fun that Digital Extremes are like, hey, you want to be a real space ninja? Go to space. So
it kind of makes me think of the fact that there was that news recently with scientists being all like, there's something underneath the crust of the moon, we don't know what it is, and Bungie responded with, we told you so.
It's obviously a wizard. Yeah, wizards. Full of wizards. Exactly. We've known for years.
Bungie went back in time and put something underneath the surface of the moon just to go and have marketing for Shadowkeep.
Yeah. I was just going to say, there was one other thing that I saw during the week after Adrian started talking about Tennocon in our chat, and that is like, apparently for the first time since the game's release, they've actually done like a full new cinematic sort of opening sequence for the game as well, which goes for a few minutes, and it's fucking mint. It's so good. So
yeah, it's cool.
But it has some spoilery stuff in it from what I understand. So
well, I wouldn't say it's spoilery per se. It just kind of gives away something that you uncover through progressing the story. It's not a huge spoiler. In fact, you can kind of work it out on your own. But Warframe is so cryptic that like if you knew nothing about it and watched that trailer, it would mean absolutely nothing to you anyway.
Yeah, it's one of those spoilers that only make sense to people who actually know what it is.
Yeah,
so if you don't tell anybody about it, no one will realize.
Okay, everybody, there's no spoilers. Just go and watch it. It's really cool.
Yeah. Anyway, that sums up Tennocon. So pretty exciting, and I'm pretty hyped for this Railjack. It's going to be awesome to jump in there, and I know that both you, Christian, and Luke already play, so I think there's a good enough reason for us to give that a go.
I'm just going to have to budget my time between Destiny and Warframe for the rest of the year. I think it's just, it's getting to that point.
Railjack is the Sea of Thieves for me, because that's basically what it is, but in a big spaceship with space ninjas.
Yeah. I'll help you budget that time, Luke. Here you go. 0 to Destiny and 100 to Warframe. Wow. Done. Easy.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen just quietly, but sure.
Well, from Tennocon to Pokemon, there's a new... well, I've been sitting on that.
They should have sent a poet.
Contact. Yes, Pokemon Company, new trailer, Pokemon Sword and Shield. They've announced a new feature called Gigantamaxing. So they'd already shown off Dynamaxing, which is where one of your Pokemon per battle can turn into a giant monstrosity. And now Gigantamaxing. What?
It's a giant version of the same Pokemon. It doesn't turn into like a Cronenberg monstrosity
It's a look after you horror.
Well, a couple of them have definitely grown a
Yeah.
bird monstrosity.
Yeah, well, that's true, I suppose.
Now, Gigantamaxing, it actually does physically change what the Pokemon looks like, unlike Dynamaxing, which just inflates them. So they showed off a new Pokemon called Alcremie, which is like a little whipped cream fairy thing. It's like a little blob of whipped cream with strawberries in it. But when you Gigantamax it, it turns into like this enormous, massively layered, like wedding cake sort of thing. And it gets access to special, powerful moves that heal your whole team as well as damaging the enemy. So it sounds really powerful. And yeah, so Gigantamaxing is a thing. To me, it's a bit strange because it's kind of like I liked Dynamaxing because every Pokemon could do it. So unlike Mega Evolutions, it was kind of even across the board because Mega Evolutions had that problem of it was really powerful, but only certain Pokemon could do it. So I like the idea of leveling the playing field with Dynamaxing, but Gigantamaxing sounds like it's got that same thing that Mega Evolutions had, where it's only certain Pokemon that can do it, and it's extra powerful. So I'm not a big...
got a slightly different impression. My understanding was that you can only Gigantamax in the stadiums, but I could be wrong about that. So, because the whole theme behind the Dynamaxing in the new game is that it's based around geological sort of features on the map. So you can only do it at particular locations. And my understanding was that it's the stadiums in particular that are kind of the nexus of that sort of energy, and that's where the Gigantamaxing happens. But I could be wrong.
No, you're right, but that's still part of that.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't change my point that it's still only certain Pokemon that can Gigantamax.
Okay.
Because it involves a model change, and they get special fancy moves I can't remember the name of. So it's only certain Pokemon that can do that. And it's that element I don't like.
Do you know what the shithead fan in me thinks about this?
What?
If they spent all this extra dev time on the fucking models for the Gigantamaxing, why couldn't they have just spent it on putting the full Pokedex in the game? Fuck!
That we won't get into Dexit again, but that's definitely, like, to me personally, I'd be like, even if you gave me 5 more of the old Pokemon but didn't give me Gigantamaxing, I'd prefer that. But that's a whole thing. The other thing I'll mention about the new trailer is they featured a couple of new gym leaders, and they've said that there's version exclusive gym leaders. So usually the Pokemon games will have some variation in Pokemon themselves, but they don't usually have different like story content or gym content. So this is interesting. It seems to be the first one where they've done that. And yeah, they showed off some more NPC characters like the Chairman Rose, who's the dude in charge of the Pokemon League, who's totally not a bad guy. And he's absolutely going to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
He's got like a bad guy mustache and a goatee.
Yeah.
He's named a chairman.
Yes.
Like, speaking as a chairman, I am definitely evil.
Head of Pokemon FIFA, and FIFA is corrupt as shit. So
Also, if his name's Rose, he has to be a real prick. So,
that's true.
Yeah.
Dear.
Yeah, that's Pokemon.
Cool. All right. Well, from Pokemon to something else that's similarly kind of cutesy and animated, Cuphead. So we spoke recently about how the Delicious Last Course DLC was sort of a little while off, but to keep people sort of interested in Cuphead in the meantime, they've actually just announced a partnership with Netflix, of all things. So there's actually going to be a new show coming to Netflix called The Cuphead Show, which basically is going to be a character-driven comedy following the unique misadventures of the impulsive Cuphead and his cautious but easily swayed brother Mugman. That's from the official press release. So they're going to be sort of going through a whole bunch of misadventures through the Inkwell Isles, which is where the game is set. Like it's just one of those brands that has done well enough as its own thing that they've decided that it's actually marketable as a cartoon series. And honestly, the way the characters are drawn and the way the aesthetic of the game plays out, it's pretty much made for that. Let's be real. So yeah, I just don't know. Is there enough material to actually make a proper series out of it? We'll see. Maybe as much as the game is kind of like out where the target audience based on the how difficult it is and the skill required to actually play it. I don't think we're maybe the same target audience for a Netflix show. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, they could kind of go down if they did it sort of like a BoJack Horseman type thing, where it was a bit more adult. I know, but I think it'd be really missing the point if they did Cuphead targeted for kids, given what the game's like.
Yeah, I agree, but that's my fear. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I have breaking news, everybody. Breaking news. Hot off the presses. This just in, Nintendo announces the Nintendo Switch Lite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Nintendo have just this moment announced the Nintendo Switch Lite. I'm just reading about it now. So it's got integrated Joy-Cons, so you can't
And half the
detach them.
calories.
Integrated Joy-Cons, no docking features or like HDMI out features. So it's designed strictly for handheld mode. It's slightly smaller, obviously cheaper. Comes in yellow, turquoise, or grey, and yeah, it's going to come out in late September. So yeah, that's there's been a lot of rumors circulating around about Switch revisions, whether there was going to be some sort of Pro version or a Lite version, and yeah, Nintendo Switch Lite is a real thing.
Interesting.
There was a couple of leaks about like cases that were like, this is a case for the Nintendo Switch Lite, and everyone's like, that's not
Hang
a
on.
thing.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
So have they listed the difference in screen size or price? Is there a comparison?
Price, I'm seeing $199. That'll be US, I imagine. So I don't know exactly what that converts out to.
It's
but
$100 less.
Oh, okay. That's significant.
About a third off. And for screen size, I can't see exact details, but it is a bit smaller, but not hugely. And they've said that they're gonna advertise like compatible game modes. So if a game requires the TV version, then that'll be sort of advertised on the box. Because there will be some games that aren't completely cross-compatible, so that'll be interesting.
What wouldn't be? I wonder.
Yeah.
That's an interesting
Pokemon.
No, Pokemon must be. Surely. It's like one of the whole reasons to have this thing. Although, I mean, not that it wasn't already, but isn't this just the final like nail in the coffin of the DS, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah,
yeah. It's totally. And it's the perfect one for kids because they can't lose the damn Joy-Cons. So.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just
it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how they handle Super Mario Odyssey because that game relies on those Joy-Cons in a big way.
Yeah. That might be one that they mention is not the optimal experience. So,
Yeah.
I wonder if you could still
I
sync
played it with a
Joy-Cons
controller.
to them.
Yeah. I played it with a controller and didn't use any of the motion controls.
Oh, I use controller too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That'll
I
be
guess
fine.
you could still do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you had another set of Joy-Cons available to you, which they're not that hard to get hold of these days, if you could just sort of sync them to it and play sort of almost with it standing up in front of you, you're not gripping it and like that. So
I imagine you can do that. The screen size is 5.5 inches compared to 6.2 inches for the original. So they are 5.5 to 6.2. Battery life is a bit better as well, slightly better. Like instead of 2.5 to 6 hours, it's 3 to 7 hours. So just a little bit better. But yeah, it's lighter and smaller. So the actual unit itself is 3.6 inches high instead of 4 inches. So yeah, not a huge difference, but yeah, it's pretty interesting.
seems like the screen would still be significantly bigger than the DSXL as well. So you're kind of like a halfway between a DS and a Switch kind of size.
Yeah. What's interesting too is not only does it not have detachable Joy-Cons, but I thought maybe if they did a Lite version that you could still dock it if you had a dock and wanted to, but you can't. It has no. It doesn't support any outputs. So even if you have separate Joy-Cons, you can't dock this and then still use it as a conventional Switch. So it'll only ever be handheld mode.
Oh, that's a shame. Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Understandable though. I think that makes a lot of sense.
I think it does too, because they need to differentiate it. You know, it has different features and benefits, so it has to be. You have to keep it to one side. So
I guess that's the point, because people who have the whole docked play as being the main thing that appeals to them, why wouldn't you just buy the cheaper one for $100 less if you're just going to have it docked all the time?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Some breaking news there. Sorry, back to you, Luke.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, let's just quickly kick in with a little bit of Hearthstone news. So just wanted to quickly mention there's a big event heading to Hearthstone, which is a evil-themed Firefest event. So they did a kind of similar thing last year where over the course of 3 weeks, they had a whole bunch of giveaways of packs and things for, engaging in some event sort of scenarios and special kind of, weekly missions and things that they were doing, part of the Tavern Brawl stuff that they do. This one, of course, is going to be on the lead up to the new Saviors of Uldum expansion. But the way they're going to do it this time, I think, is really cool sounding, because they're actually going to have some additional rewards that you can earn by doing almost like a time trial type thing. So in the first week, you can go up against a whole bunch of bosses, and if you manage to beat all of the bosses in under an hour, you get like a special Herald card. And if you beat all of the bosses, there's 8 of them, in under 40 minutes, you get a special sort of golden villain card as well. And that's going to follow suit through the other couple of weeks. The third one being more of a sort of final showdown one. But I don't actually think Hearthstone has done this kind of reward before, where there's like a timed nature to it, and you get a better sort of reward if you actually manage to complete it in a shorter time period. That's fairly unique for this game. So that's
it is
interesting.
Yeah.
Reminds me.
I really liked one of the other tavern brawls they're doing. Sorry to interrupt. Is they're doing a tavern brawl as part of this event, where every player is going to get given a random deck, and then if you lose, then you copy the deck that you lost to. So you get your opponent's deck, and they're going to run this for multiple days. And so eventually it's going to be refined over time. So it's the better decks will proliferate, and it's going to, like, just using kind of almost machine learning, work out what the best decks are through a massive sample size. So I thought that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. They're going to be pulling some super interesting data from that. Yeah.
So here's all the cards we're going to nerf.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, there's a bit of rock, paper, scissors involved as well, but even so, like, you'd definitely be able to see some trends emerging out of that, I'm sure. So, yeah, super cool.
Scissors is overpowered.
Yeah.
Nerf scissors.
Nerf scissors.
So we were talking about Destiny 2 and cool stuff in Destiny 2 earlier. So this is one of the things that Destiny 2 does year over year, and I find it super cool. So they've revealed their 2019 Moments of Triumph for year 2. And so the Moments of Triumph thing is basically what Destiny does is that at the end of every year of Destiny, they'll have an event where they give players the opportunity to unlock all these triumphs and everything. And by unlocking a certain amount of them, they can actually get in-game rewards and out-of-game rewards as well. So before we had the medallions, we had t-shirts. And you could actually go and get all your Moments of Triumph in Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 Year 1, and actually get this really sweet t-shirt that actually had your clan name and your name on it. And you could only get that if you unlocked all the Moments of Triumph for that time. They're doing the same thing again this time around, and there's even more rewards. So you can get an emblem, you can get a sparrow, which is one of the vehicles in the game. You can get a ship, which is more of a cosmetic vehicle, I guess. And then at there's 18 different Moments of Triumph to unlock. At 15, you can get the t-shirt, but at 18, you get the title and another medallion seal thing. So that's another opportunity to get one of those added to your collection if you're that hardcore. I was looking through the list, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in there that because it's basically like, here's all the highlights of what you should have done this past year in Destiny 2. A lot of those things I've already done, so I think I'll probably end up logging in and have like 8 or 10 of them unlocked straight away. And then some of them are basically like, yep, I don't think I'm getting that. So one of them is like, you have to be a clan rank 4 and defeat the raids, or at least 2 of the raids, I believe. And getting to clan rank 4 basically requires you to have a fairly decently sized clan to actually get to that point. So that's pretty much out of my reach. Which is unfortunate. That's a bit different from how they've done it in previous years, where it's pretty much the focus is on you and not on your clan.
If you super badly wanted it, though, you could jump out of your clan into another one and then back after you're done. So
yeah, I don't know if I'm that desperate. Like, I'm pretty happy just getting the shirt. It'll be the first Moment of Triumph shirt I get if I actually get that one. Because in previous years it's been way out of my reach, but this time they've added the seal and title above the shirt, so it's not the top tier reward anymore. And yeah, the other thing they added, so the patch just went in like this morning, pretty much. So there's a bunch of other stuff they've added. So there's now this thing called the Tribute Hall, which I haven't gotten to play with yet. But you go in there and you basically are paying tribute to different characters in the Destiny universe and different enemies. It exists on the Leviathan, so it's all tied in with the current story this season. And apparently players found out very, very quickly, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's an exotic from Destiny 1 that has made its grand return in Destiny 2, and you unlock it via this tribute hall.
Yep.
And it's apparently a lot of work to get it, but I'm pretty keen on getting it.
It looks super, super fucking good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm super looking forward to that. And yeah, just to wrap up our news with some shitty asshole news. I feel like we need a whole section just for shitty asshole news.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So G2A, if you've never heard of them, they're basically like a key reseller for video games. So they basically claim to organize stuff for other smaller businesses that want to sell game keys from like Steam and such. Only the problem with G2A is that a lot of those keys are bought using stolen credit cards, and they get put on G2A, and then people buy the keys because they're cheaper. And then, the person that had their credit card stolen ends out, issuing a chargeback. But that chargeback doesn't go to G2A because they're just a front company for these people wanting to resell their keys. And so the person that has to actually pay that money is the developer on a sale that they saw no money for. So this whole thing has basically resulted... I think we actually chatted about it last week very briefly about how a whole bunch of game devs was basically saying, we would rather you pirate the game than buy things off of G2A. Because literally, if you pirate the game, they don't lose any money, but they don't gain any money. But if you buy it from G2A... it's very, very possible that the developer will lose money rather than gaining money or having nothing happen at all.
Yep.
It's literally just worse all around.
Problem with G2A as an entity as well is they're very sort of prolific when it comes to supporting a lot of sort of streaming sort of personalities and YouTubers and that sort of thing. So you see G2A advertising freaking everywhere, and a lot of people who sort of jump into bed with them don't bother to do the research about like what kind of business they actually are. So... yeah.
A couple of years back, one of the game developers conferences was actually funded partially by G2A, and people were not happy about it.
Yeah.
Because they are just incredibly bad, especially for indies. Like they can cost indies a lot of business. But anyways, the news, the reason they're in the news at the moment, there's two things. They've announced that they, to try and help their image, are going to assist developers by offering independent audits of its catalog. But the phrasing they use in the announcement for this honestly pissed me off just reading through it. Like, so they say in here, it sounds very cocky, is the way I'm going to kind of preface this. We will pay developers 10 times the money they lost on chargebacks after illegally obtained copies were sold on G2A. The idea is simple. Developers just need to prove such a thing actually happened.
Yeah.
Like, so the thing is that maybe just don't sell stolen copies of games. Like, it shouldn't be on developers to have to chase this shit up. Like, this is basically just deflecting, like, oh yeah, we've got this policy now. We'll totally do this with an independent person, but you just need to come to us and tell us it's happened and provide all this evidence that it's happened. Like, shouldn't it just be their responsibility to fucking control their freaking store? Like, maybe don't do that. But yeah, on top of that, they sent out a email to a journalist who made it clear that this is a thing that happened. So who knows how many other journalists got this email. And I won't go and read the whole thing, but basically what the email was saying to this journalist was, I'll read out one part of it. At the moment, we are trying to improve our brand awareness and public image, especially among indie and smaller game developers. Unfortunately, a majority of public does not understand either our business model or how we try to make our customers... this is really badly worded. How we try to make sure our customers can safely purchase digital products. We want to make sure that people understand we do everything we can to support the gaming community and that we introduce every possible method to assure every side is satisfied. Which sounds all well and good. But then they follow up with, we have written an unbiased article about how selling stolen keys on gaming marketplaces is pretty much impossible. Sure, this is unbiased. And we want you to publish it on your website without being marked as sponsored or associated content with G2A. And then they basically end it by saying, how much do you want for it?
Jesus.
It's amazing. It's literally just, it's like everything in the book's wrong. It's like, it's crazy. Like, we're going to bribe you. Don't say it's from us. We've already written it. we claim it's unbiased. Like,
Yep.
it's so ridiculous. I almost love how bold-faced and ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Like,
but-
they're a cartoon villain.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it fucking is.
Well, they've come out and said that this is apparently one rogue sort of social
sure,
media
yeah.
person, because
Sure.
there's only one authorized person in the entire business that's allowed to sort of contact outlets and speak to them on behalf of the company. But even so, I mean, it's not a good look.
But, like, they every time they get called out on it, and the fact that people are selling stolen keys through their marketplace, like, their CEO was saying, we're just delivering the platform and resellers are doing the transactions. It's not our responsibility. Like, it's your fucking platform.
And then there was another statement, I don't have the exact wording of, but they said something that was basically to the effect of, if we don't do it, somebody else is going to, so we might as well be the ones doing it. So
Yeah.
it's terrible.
So in the theme of treading carefully and not sort of saying anything that we can't, prove 100%, we're not saying that G2A are a pack of dodgy wankers that sell stolen goods, but we're also not saying that. So
I'm saying that.
This is all, it's all allegations.
yeah, fair enough. Oh man, yeah, don't. That's the message.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, please don't buy keys off of G2A.
Yep, that's it. All right, well, anyway, that kind of rubbish aside, let's bring on a topic with a whole new variety of rubbish. So, going back, it's been pretty much exactly to the day. I'm just looking at the exact date of the month. I think we're maybe one day off because of recording schedules, but it is 364 days maybe since we ran a particular segment on the show, which we've always been planning on doing a sequel follow-up to, by the name of Jank or Prank. So I almost feel like we need to have like some sort of bumper music for this, but we don't. So anyway, I don't know. Insert
One day.
Yeah, insert kind of I don't know.
Boing!
Yeah, something like that. That'll do. Adrian will put it in post. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to run a little game. So the whole idea behind this is that we've each come up with a bunch of different names of games and a brief overview of what is in that game. And these are really not your conventional kinds of games. These are super weird, janky kind of games is kind of the theme. So the whole idea is that these could be accurate, just weirdness, or these could be complete fabrications. So if they're accurate, it's just a super janky game. If it's a complete fabrication, it's effectively a prank. So we're each going to take turns guessing each of the ones that are read out and work out whether they're actually jank, which is real, or prank, which is fake, and have a good laugh as we go and move on to the next and do a bit of a score tally at the end to see who has actually most accurately pinpointed the bullshit.
And you can play along at home.
Absolutely.
In your own brain.
Yeah. Your own brain, nice.
In somebody else's. Don't play it in somebody else's
warning,
brain,
do not
please.
play in somebody else's brain.
No, that's it.
Yeah, and play with friends. You could listen to the podcast together and play together.
And if any of these games that are actually real sound appealing, I guess you could go and buy them after we're done. So. or if they're completely fake and they sound appealing, maybe go and try and make it. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. Well, anyway, who wants to jump in first with their list? We've got 5 each. Christian's got 10 because he's special and he decided to do half marks for each of his. Is that the plan, Christian?
That's right. I did just game titles because I had so many good ones. So mine are worth half marks, but it'll be quicker.
All right. Cool. All right. Well, what I'm going to do is just to make this fair, is I'm actually going to randomly determine who's going to go first. So I'll pull up ye old random number generator, and we'll assign everyone a list as per the top of the document.
And Matt, you're our designated scorekeeper. Is that correct?
Yes, I have my pen and paper here, going total analog.
Alrighty.
So are we taking turns reading one out? We're doing all of our list and then all of the next person's list and then all of the
Correct.
next
Yeah.
person's list.
All then. Okay.
After each of your ones as well, once everyone's guessed, we're going to reveal the whether it's a jank or prank immediately before we go on to the next one. So, yep. All right, so we don't have to go back and recap all of them at the end.
That's right.
So, all right, now roll. First person up is Adrian.
Yay!
Go for it.
Yay.
Okay, so I'll read out my game number 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so I wasn't sure how long this was supposed to be, so bear with me. I'll read it out and you guys can enjoy the little spiel that I've written. So, game number 1. Set in a magical world where floating platforms have faces and disembodied lips wiggle their way across the landscape, you play as a small snowman-shaped creature named Bop Louie and are tasked with navigating this bizarre world in an effort to find and rescue your 3 friends, also finding a way home. Through a combination of your team's skills, you manage to navigate this disorientating world before fighting a giant frog robot with a Viking helmet that has a smaller version of itself for hands. Your friends are Gil, a green fishman with the ability to vomit eggs that explode. Shades, a cool ghost with a winged cap that can use a hammer to knock his own eyeballs out of his head, which fly around and kill enemies. And Freon Leon, a lizard who can swim.
And what's it called? What's the actual game name?
It's called Euphoria.
Euphoria. Well, I think you understood the task fucking perfectly, mate. That's spot on.
That's incredible.
Oh, prank!
I have to say Jank because I want this game to be real, so I'm saying Jank.
Oh my
Jank.
god.
I'm saying Jank.
Oh my god. Look, I'm actually going to give Adrian a lot of credit here by saying prank because I think you could quite easily fabricate something of that level of detail.
At the ghost thing, I was like, Adrian could write this. This is good.
Yeah, this is super good actually. So I'm saying prank mostly as a compliment.
Okay.
Yeah.
The game is real.
Oh my god.
Yay!
Euphoria is a
That's
real
amazing.
Nintendo game that I played as a kid, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And Luke, you
I
would
thought it
love it
sounded
because it's
familiar.
actually a Metroidvania.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna have to look this up. That's amazing.
And it's whack. It's a Western port of like a Japanese game. So the character models in the Western version are different. Like the characters look different. They're drawn differently. And the Japanese game is called Hebreki, I think, is the Japanese name. But it kept a lot of the just off the wall crazy Japanese weirdness to it. Yeah, it's very strange.
Huh. Okay. All right.
But it's
Number two.
fantastic. All right, number 2. A classic game where you must save your girlfriend who has been transformed into a crystal ball by an evil wizard to be presented to his master, the evil Mr. Wardner. Classic platformer with stages that include the Poison Forest, where you fight ghosts and bat goblins, an old factory where you must avoid dangerous spinning blade traps and pterodactyls. Lastly, a giant castle where you face off against headless zombies and rock golems. Finally, you face Mr. Wardner himself, who is just a guy in a red wizard robe who turns into Satan.
What's this called?
Wardner.
It's just called Wardner.
It's called Wardner.
Oh my god.
Okay.
I have to. I'm saying this is jank, and my reasoning is that the game sounds vague enough that if it's not real, it could be real, and I don't think Adrian would run that risk.
I'm going to say
I'm saying
jank as
jank.
well because I actually think I might have played something like this before ages ago. Yeah, I'm not 100% certain because it's been quite a while, but oh my god,
It'd be
there's a
very
possibility.
interesting if you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna say prank.
Prank?
It's not real. Yeah.
Okay. It is Jank. It's a real game.
Yay!
My
Wardner-
God.
Now I'm wondering if I have actually played this.
So there's a running theme with my list. Wardner, I remember playing. My stepdad used to play indoor cricket in Morley, and I can't remember which night of the week it was, but we all used to go down and watch him play indoor cricket. And there was an arcade machine in the corner of this like warehouse, and it was the only arcade machine in the whole building. And it took 20-cent coins, and it was Wardner.
Oh my god, I have played this before. The second you said arcade machine, I'm just like, holy shit, yes, I have. Oh my god.
Yeah. And it was, for the longest time, that elusive game that I remembered from my childhood and could never find. And I only found it this year. I only discovered what it was called and found it. So I thought that should go on the list. Okay, game number 3. A point-and-click adventure set in a dystopian future where the government has hunted your kind to the brink of extinction. You play as a half-robot, half-human rebel named Edward. You are tasked with finding a way through an elaborate futuristic city filled with shady characters and hard logic puzzles, with the help of your AI companion, Buddy, spelt BU88Y. The goal ultimately to overthrow the manic AI in charge of the evil government branch nicknamed the Syndicate. The trick here is that Buddy is slowly dying, and if you fail to complete the adventure in a set amount of time, the game is over.
Someone else go first.
Jank. I'm calling Jank. I reckon it's real.
I'm gonna say prank again.
It sounds like, in a way, like Beneath the Steel Sky, but I'm gonna go for prank.
Prank?
Yeah.
It is prank.
Ah!
Yes.
And I'm glad you said prank because I didn't realise we had to think of a title and I didn't have one for it. So I'm glad you didn't ask me what it was called. But I was gonna grab like Steel and like Beneath the Steel Sky. Christian knows that I have played that game and it is not point and click. And I don't remember much about Beneath the Steel Sky, but this I tried to make up from memory. So anyway, it was a prank. That one's not real. So well done. Game number 4. A platformer released on the PS1 and animated in a unique claymation style, this game was a spin-off of legendary point-and-click adventure Neverworld, created by Dan Naptonel. Titled Boombots, the adventure sees our hero Clog team up with his scrappy talking pet Robo-Dog named Big Beak, who assists Clog by granting him various abilities by attaching himself to Clog. Such abilities include a ranged grappling hook, a parachute, and a laser drill to tunnel through walls in one particular level. Clog's quest? To defeat the evil King Clayman, who has captured the beautiful Princess Cranium and aims to destroy the Clayverse.
Jank.
Jank?
Yeah, I'm going to say Jank.
No,
If it's not real, it should be.
that's got to be a prank. I don't believe that one for a second. No, it's bullshit. It's prank.
I'm saying prank, and my reasoning is that you mentioned it has like a claymation art style, and I can't see that working on the NES. Like, I remember like Clay Fighters.
No,
on the NES.
PS1.
Oh, you said PS1, did you?
Yep.
Why did I think NES? Okay. That kind of art style was popular and possible. So that flipped me to Jank. I reckon that's Jank.
You reckon it's Jank?
Yeah.
It is a prank.
Yeah!
So this is a bit of an experiment to see if I could fool you. Lots of the information in that verse is true. What I did was I took all the games made by Ted Naple and mixed them all together to make a new game.
Nice.
The game I
totally
originally
knew
started
that.
with
I
was...
totally knew that.
Did you? Yeah. So the
Nice.
original game was Skull Monkeys, but I took... I made up Neverworld and changed the names. Boombots was a real PS1 claymation game, but it wasn't a platformer. Clog is a character from Neverhoods. Big Beak is a character from Amacrog, who's a recent point-and-click Ted Naple game. And Clayman was the original protagonist. So they're all... It's all real Ted Naple characters, but the game is completely made up.
Dastardly.
Oh, and the gadgets were from Earthworm Jim. The parachute and the grappling.
Cool.
Nice.
Okay. So well done. Last Adrian Tricky game. An old isometric NES puzzle game where the player is tasked with navigating a small cube through a variety of stages by turning it one face at a time to make it roll along the landscape whilst avoiding enemies. Each time the cube passes through one of the coloured gates in the level, it changes to match the colour of the gate, which also changes the colour palette of the stage. Once all the gates have been passed through, this unlocks the door to the end of the level. Unlocking the last gate also summons a much larger cube from the gate that you last passed through, which will then chase you downhill until you reach the exit. The enemies that block your path will slow you down, and if the big cube catches you, you have to start again.
And what's the game called, Adrian?
It's called Blockhead.
I'm going to say Jank because I think that Adrian would have gone a bit more overboard with embellishing that if it wasn't real.
Oh, actually, because I'm just thinking again that it sounds
familiar.
It sounds like Adrian that game could exist, and Adrian wouldn't be sure it doesn't exist.
This is the beautiful meta nature of this game.
It is because like a game where you like are changing colors of blocks and then moving through to the next stage. Like that game could exist. Like, we might not know it, but I'm gonna say prank.
Prank.
I'm going to say Jank.
Jank. Luke, what was yours?
Mine was Jank.
Jank. It is a prank. It's not real.
Oh my god.
Oh, God.
I made it up, and I was thinking when I wrote that of that game where you play as a ball and you have to roll down an isometric landscape and not roll off the stage.
Yeah.
I just changed it to a cube, and that was it.
Adrian, I'm impressed. There was some freeze-dried bullshit on that list.
Yeah.
That was cute, man.
There you go. There's my Janko prank list.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Very good.
Most of the inspiration was drawn from games that I either had played or similar games, and I couldn't pick anything past the PS1 because I'm not creative enough to think of a game bigger than something that's simple in concept. So there you go.
Fair enough.
That's good.
All right, well, letting the die roll, see who's up next. We have... That's me, okay. Okay, so my first one, I'm going to read the description and then I'll give you the name, okay? So, maneuver yourself into prime position in a public swimming pool and then wait for the secret signal before surprising and delighting the other swimmers with a dance-tastic flash mob. Perform the carefully choreographed moves correctly to the beat in front of the passing photographer for extra points and renown. Team up with 2 to 4 friends to experience additional music challenge levels designed for co-op play. And it's called Splash Mob.
Prank.
Yeah.
I'd say prank.
I'm going to say prank.
I'm going to say prank as well. All on prank.
All on prank.
All in.
Yeah, all in.
You are all correct. Well done.
Yeah.
All right. The next one is exactly what you might imagine a game with the name that I'm about to give you would be. So you put yourself in the role of a large blood-sucking insect who has to travel around sucking up blood from unsuspecting victims without waking them up or being killed. You need enough blood to survive the long, cold winter or else you will die. And the game is called Mr. Mosquito.
Jank. I'm going Jank on that one.
Mr. Mosquito.
It sounds cool. I want to play it. I want to be a giant mosquito.
Mr. Mosquito. To see
I'm
the
saying
name,
Jank.
I'm going to do the talk it out method. So Mr. Mosquito sounds like a prank name, but I think Luke is riding on that. I think he's chosen Mr. Mosquito because the name sounds so crap that we would pick prank. So therefore, I'm going to go Jank. And I think the game description was vague enough where he would be relying on our understanding of the title to form our entire opinion. So I'm going to go against what he wants us to think and pick Jank.
That's some
Jank being it's
fucking
real.
logic leaves out. I love it. That's awesome. All right, Matt.
We're all on Jank.
You're all on Jank.
All right,
Wow.
all on Jank.
You guys
Yep.
are owning me. Well done. It's a
We got
Jank.
it right.
Yeah,
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so you see, the problem here is that I've actually watched a live stream of that game.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Well, that helps.
Yeah, that one was on the edge of ones that I thought maybe one of you had seen. So yeah. All right, cool. So the next one is a mobile game called Booger Boing. You have to shoot a booger through your nose, around obstacles, and into the level goal. There's no helpful tissue, nose blowing, or nasal spray allowed. It's just you and your finger. So you can adjust the direction and strength of each fling, stick to the green parts of the nasal walls, and watch out for dangerous nose-residing creatures, and do not fall into the vast mucus at the bottom of the level. You can collect coins as you bounce, and you can redeem them for awesome hats, glasses, and other items to dress up your booger.
Okay,
Booger-
quite
Booger
frankly,
Boing.
there's weirder shit on mobile, so
Yeah.
I'm going to say
Yeah.
Jank.
It sounds like a more like cashed up version of the paper toss game that was really popular on
Yeah.
like the original iPhone. I'm going Jank.
I wouldn't be surprised though if it's prank, just because of the fact that most mobile games are bullshit.
I'm going prank. I just have a feeling. I'm just going to go with prank.
All right. Well, that one was in fact Jank. It is a real game.
Oh, Booger Boing, you beast. Beaten again by Booger Boing.
Yeah. I actually was tempted to make some alterations to that and actually make it a prank so that I could just say that it's not real, but no.
Oh, God.
Anywho, on to number 4. This one is a game released in the vein of House of the Dead 2, but this one instead used a plastic gun controller to aim at the zombies and blow their heads off, just like in the original game. But in this one, you actually have characters all equipped with keyboards, and you as the player have to type words and phrases appearing on screen accurately and as quickly as possible to kill the zombie hordes. It's called Typing of the Dead.
Jank.
Yeah, I think Jank. Because it sounds terrible. And it sounds like a terrible education game, which makes it sound real.
Definitely Jank.
Definitely Jank. 3 for 3. You all got it. Well
Yeah,
done.
I know this. I know that one. I've seen that game.
Okay.
Have you?
I've played
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Nice.
It's actually really fucking good.
Yeah,
I
I've heard it's
might
good.
add.
Ah, there you go. All right. Last on the list, number 5, we have a game by the name of Sakamoto, Legend of the Wailing Blade. In this action-adventure game, you play as a renowned samurai wielding a family heirloom blade with the spirit of one of your ancestors as a newborn baby within it. You must rapidly defeat enemies and then complete peaceful challenges to pacify the blade, lest it cry and reveal your location to enemies.
What the fuck?
What's the title of the game again?
Sakamoto, Legend of the Wailing Blade.
Prank.
Wailing blade. What do you have to do again?
Action-adventure game, you run around, and basically you have a blade that has the spirit of one of your ancestors as a newborn baby in it. You have to kill shit and pacify the blade so it doesn't cry and make noise and reveal itself to enemies.
Prank.
Yeah, I think prank.
You think prank? So what was yours, Matt?
Prank.
Prank. You guys are way too good for me. It was a prank.
Yes.
Well done. There you go.
So, Matt, do you have a running tally of the score?
Yes.
What's the standings?
So Adrian's on 4, Luke is on 2, I am on 7, and you are on 9.
Okay, all right.
Do we
But
get points?
obviously,
Do we get points if
Adrian
we
and
fooled
Luke-
someone?
Huh?
Do we get points if we fooled people, or is it only
No.
points we
No,
get
no.
against others? Okay.
But you, Adrian and Luke, your scores obviously can't be as high as ours yet because
Yeah,
you've
'cause we
only done
haven't
one
done-
round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True,
Okay.
true.
Cool.
Alrighty, so next up on the list we have Mr. Christian.
All right. So, as mentioned, mine are just game titles. They're all Japanese games because Japanese games have these fantastically
Oh,
ridiculous
no.
Of course.
They
English.
could all be real or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's some of them are just so ridiculous. But yeah, some of them are real. Some of them are jank. Some of them are prank.
Oh, it's got to be a coin toss every time.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so they're only worth half a point each. So we'll
Okay.
start off with Hyperdimension Neptunia RE semicolon Birth 2 colon Sisters Generation.
Jank.
Nah,
Jank.
fuck you. That's a prank. No way.
No,
There's
Jank.
I'm
way.
out.
I'm calling Jank
Okay.
straight away on that.
Yeah, I'm going Jank.
And Luke, what was
Prank.
yours?
Nah. Bullshit. Fuck you.
That is jank. That's a real
Oh.
game.
Yeah.
no.
I've heard Hyper Neptunia before. I know that just those two
But
words.
see, it's in Christian's nature to take two friggin' game names and blend them together
Yeah.
to come up with
yeah,
this game,
well,
bro.
yeah. We wouldn't know. Like,
It's glorious. I love these types of names. Number 2, Shin Megami Tensei Devil Killer colon Gates Unlocked Cross Beginnings.
Yeah, prank for the same reason. I reckon
Devil-
you've blended two things together.
I think he might have here.
Yeah,
Shin Megami
prank.
Tensei. Yeah, prank.
So you're all on prank?
Yep.
Yep, that one is a prank. Well done, guys.
Yeah.
There is a Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner with an extra thing, but I changed it. So number 3 is Extelia the Second Gift colon Labor's Birth.
Jank.
Yeah, let's go Jank.
Jank?
I'm just guessing.
I'm
at
going
this
to go
point.
Jank as well.
You're all on Jank?
Yeah.
Yep.
You're all wrong. That one is prank.
Oh, my
Oh
God.
no, your Labour's birth wasn't real.
Oh, God. Oh, that's so good. I think Extelia is a real series, but everything after it's made up.
Oh, of course. Well, I knew that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next one. Melty Blood, Actress Again, Current Code.
Jank.
Prank.
I want it to be real. I really want this one to be real.
Did you say melty blood?
Melty blood.
Melty Blood,
Blood.
Actress Again, Current Code.
Melty blood. Jank.
All right.
Matt, what was yours?
I said prank.
All right, that one is Jank. That's a real game.
Hey!
It's a fighting
I
game.
knew. Oh god, I really want to see what melty blood.
It's just like an anime fighter. It's nothing remarkable.
Okay.
Number 5. Holy Invasion of Privacy, Badman. What did I do to deserve this?
Holy invasion of privacy, Badman. Is that Badman or Batman?
Badman. What did I do to deserve this?
Oh my God.
I think that's Jank because it sounds so fake that it's got to be real.
Jank for Adrian.
Yeah.
I'm going prank.
Prank for Matt. Luke.
I want it to be real. Jank.
That is Jank.
Yay!
Oh my god.
But the game, that was the original title. It did subsequently change its name to remove the Badman because it was seen as being too close to like Batman.
Batman.
Like
Yeah. That's the part of the title that I'd remove. Yeah, sure.
Yep. All right, number 6. Full Trigger Push. When will this holy war end?
It sounds like they didn't want to make the game.
I've got to say prank eventually. Prank.
Luke's going
when will, this
prank.
when will this holy war end? Jank. I say Jank.
Jank for Adrian.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Jank.
That one is prank.
Yes!
Nailed it completely. I'm glad I got two of you.
I hate this round.
It's clever to craft a name that has a question in it because so many Japanese titles are like open-ended statements or questions.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Number 7. Under night in birth exe:late.
Nah, it has birth in it. I'm going prank. You and your birth game titles. I'm not convinced.
No, I'm going Jank because that's just what Christian would do. He would put another birth one in there to make us think that there couldn't be two.
Matt,
So
you're our birth control. So
I'm going to go with Adrian because, like, Adrian knows Christian better.
Okay. So you're saying Jank, Matt.
Yes.
Yep. That one is Jank. Well done. You
Yay.
too. Bad luck, Luke.
Yeah, sticking with Adrian's the right way to go.
We're closing in on the last couple here. So number 8, Miracle Girls Festival. Let me bury your child.
Let me bury your child. Oh my god. Miracle Girls Festival, let me bury your child.
I feel like I can't be a good person if I don't say prank, so prank.
I think Jank.
I was already sitting here thinking Jank, so I'm going with Jank.
All right. That one is prank.
Oh, I feel so much better about that.
But I wanted to bury a child.
That one actually is a podcast episode name from the Super Best Friends cast when they used to do that, where they had a conversation about ridiculous game names and jokingly came up with that one. So ripped it from there. Number 9, Unlosing Ranger versus Dark Death Evil Man.
Jank.
Oh,
Jank.
Dark Death Evil Man. Prank. I'm going prank.
Okay, that one is Jank. Yes! That one's a real game.
I'm just guessing now.
I've been guessing this whole time. It's okay.
I haven't been. I've got like this precise science that I'm using on every single one. Yeah.
Number 10, Gundam Wars, Secret of the Gundam, Gundam versus Gundam.
That's Jank.
That's Jank.
Gundam Wars, Secret of the Gundam.
Gundam versus Gundam.
Yo, dog, I heard you like Gundam, so we put some Gundam in your Gundam to go with your Gundam.
I'm going with the gambler's fallacy. What was the last one? It was a
The
Jank
last
or
one
prank?
was Jank.
Last one was Jank. I'm going to go with prank. Prank. I'm saying prank.
That one is prank. Well done,
Yay!
Adrian. There is a Gundam Wars Gundam versus Gundam, but the Secret of the Gundam was thrown in there to spice things up. So,
Yep.
So we're
and then-
one layer off.
I have one special bonus round that's worth no points. I just want to read this game title. So I'll tell you ahead of time. This is a real Japanese game title. It's a PS4 game, and it's not even download only. It's got a physical release, and it's called Summer Colored High School Adolescent Record. A summer at school on an island where I contemplate how the first day after I transferred, I ran into a childhood friend and was forced to join the journalism club, where while my days as a paparazzi kid with great scoops made me rather popular among the girls, but strangely my camera is full of panty shots, and where my candid romance is going.
That's the title?
That's the title of the game.
Oh
and
my god.
It's on the cover. It's just like 100 kanji. It's amazing.
Where can I purchase this particular?
I don't think it's been localized, but
Yeah. Surprise.
They'd run out of ink if they had to localize.
Yes, ink is what they run out of. Sure.
Fantastic.
that's my round of crazy Japanese game
Oh
names.
my god.
Excellent.
That's so on
All
brand.
right.
It's just painful.
Yeah. Cemented your identity as the weeb master.
All right, Matt, over to you.
Okay, so I decided to go with the Jankle Prank Masters Nintendo and basically chose all of my games from the Nintendo library. And I should say, I didn't start out doing this. It just ended out with most of the games that I selected were Nintendo library games. 4 out of 5 are DS in particular.
Oh, okay. That's a
So-
sizable library for sure.
Yes. These games aren't entirely freaking crazy. They're pretty mundane in comparison to everything you guys have rattled off, so just be aware. All right? So, starting off with, you have been declared NSYNC's biggest fan. which means you now get the task of driving them around from location to location and complete menial tasks for the band, like silencing people and devices while the band is trying to sleep, running errands for them, and getting the group to their gig on time while they keep on suggesting new distractions. It's called NSYNC Get to the Show.
I say prank.
Yeah.
Because I think NSYNC is too old for the DS.
Oh, okay.
No. Most of them from DS.
Yeah.
I'm going to say prank as well, but not for that reason. The reason why I think it's a prank is because I don't think that a game would actually sell you on the idea of performing menial tasks. Like, I think that actually dress it up a little bit to make it sound a bit more enticing. So
I similar reason for me. I think that if there was an NSYNC game, it would be more directly appealing to NSYNC fans. So it'd be about dressing them up or like choreographing their dance moves or something. It wouldn't be doing those sorts of tasks.
Earning backstage passes, that kind of
Yeah, so I'm going prank.
You're all saying prank?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You're all wrong.
Oh! At least we're all wrong, so no one gets it.
It was released on Game Boy Color in 2001.
Guys, at least we're all incorrect in sync.
All right, so here's the next one.
It looks like the winner is not gonna be me. Sorry, I get one.
Help Barbie take care of her home. Do chores like cleaning the house, doing laundry, dishes, and preparing meals.
Jank.
Your performance is rated by Ken whenever he returns home, and Barbie earns more money to spend on clothing customizations by performing better in her homely duties while he's away.
Performance rated by Ken. This game would not fly in 2019, I just got to say.
No, definitely. What's the game called, Matt?
It's called Barbie Homemaker.
Barbie Homemaker. Why is Ken rating my performance when I'm cleaning Barbie's house? What?
You are Barbie.
What right does... Oh, I'm Barbie.
Yeah.
Wait, so Ken is rating me, Barbie, on doing the cleaning?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's terrible.
You're getting validation from the patriarchy.
Is there DLC for Ken to do the cleaning?
I'm going Jank, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what is it called when it's not a bachelor pad? Is it a bachelor pad? Is that how they work?
Wow. God.
I'm just saying.
Oh, thin ice, Luke.
I'm saying prank. I don't want it to be real.
So Christian's saying prank, you're saying prank?
I'm saying Jank.
Okay.
I'm on Jank.
Go on, Luke. What are you saying?
I said jank, but I really feel bad about it. So,
Well, so Christian, you were the only one that said prank.
No, I said
prank.
Oh, I'm getting
Adrian
confused because you're all talking to each other. Okay, Adrian said. Okay, Adrian, you got it right.
Hey, well done.
Take that.
It is. Thank God it's not real.
yeah, I feel like I deserve to get that one wrong because I'm terrible.
It was
Yeah.
a hard one because it could have come close, but I agree that I don't think a Barbie game would focus on cleaning.
Going
think
through them, I was
Barbie-
actually quite impressed that most of them are like power fantasies, like women power fantasies.
Yeah, I should have applied the same logic I applied to the NSYNC one. Damn it.
That's what I did.
All right, so here's the next one. Part of the Imagine series of games, you play as a young student who comes to study in the town where her grandmother lives, and you join her in bird watching and decorating her yard to lure in wild birds that you can then care for and keep as pets.
What's the game called?
It's called Imagine Birds.
Imagine Birds. I'm just imagining like this dystopian future where birds are extinct and it's just a game called Imagine Birds.
Imagine what they were like.
Oh, God.
I think Jank for this one.
I
I think it's simple enough to be like a charming Nintendo title.
I don't like the idea that you're keeping them pets, though. You're luring them in and keeping them pets.
I'm going to say
predatory.
prank
Or-
because I think it's a little bit too sort of fluffy Nintendo. So I don't think it's real. I think it's prank.
You reckon?
I think it's prank too. I'm going prank.
All right, Luke and Christian got it right. It is a
Hey.
prank. I took the Imagine Babies and just did a little bit of modifying.
Wait, do you lure in babies in that game?
No, you don't lure in babies. You babysit. You get money for
luring
babysitting.
babies.
All right. So this one's actually pretty straightforward, but I love it. So a dictionary for English, Japanese, and Korean translation. The user enters the word they want to translate, and the game translates it for them. It's a fairly mundane game overall, except for the fact that it was named Touch Dick.
Jank, please let it be Jank.
Can you tell? Will you say this is a DS game, right? Supposedly.
Yes.
Touch dick. I think the name is so scandalous that it has to be real. Yeah, I'm gonna go Jank.
Yeah, I can't quite put my finger on it, but yeah.
I'm. Why Japanese and Korean together like that? I'm saying prank because I think that there are a lot of words that might be hard to directly translate between Japanese and Korean and English.
You don't think that
altogether?
touch dick would be hard enough?
No, I'm going prank.
Yeah, so Adrian and Luke got it right.
Oh,
It is
damn.
Jank.
Yay!
It was released by a Korean company, and it's not spelt D-I-C-K, it's just D-I-C.
Oh, like dictionary.
Yeah, Touch Dick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
That's what I got.
It got renamed post-release to Touch Dictionary, so...
Okay. Well, that's a shame.
Cowards.
All right. This is going to be my second to last one, because I have a bonus round. A game in which you flick, blow, poke, stroke, and rub your Nintendo DS to flirt with girls and win their affections. But relationships get increasingly weird, with occasions where in one moment you might be flicking scorpions off your love interest, and the next you might be vomiting up goldfish. And weirder still, it's made by the Sonic team.
What?
It's called Project Rub.
Oh.
That name sounds really familiar.
Okay, sure.
No, I don't. Oh, I've dug myself in the hole.
Oh, please let
It sounds familiar.
Please let it be
It
a
sounds
prank. I'm going to go with prank. Please let me be right.
It sounds familiar because it's what I do. I'm saying Jank, Project Rub.
I'm going Jank.
It is Jank. It is real.
Hey!
Not only do I know that game, I remember
do you?
the box art for that game.
Oh,
What was it?
There's like a silhouetted girl in a bikini.
Christian, it doesn't count if you can look behind you and spot it on your shelf. That's cheating.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to be honest, but no.
They actually made a sequel. I forget what it was called because I was doing some research into it. Oh my god.
Project Cleanup is
Project Y.
It's like Rub Crew or something like that. It's
Rub Crew.
I don't remember, but yeah, there is
Let's
a
get
sequel.
the Rub Crew again.
All right. and I'm going to follow up with one more because I just want to get a laugh. Some of you may have actually heard of it. It's an autoerotic car driving game where you pretty much jerk off your gay car.
Yeah.
It's called Stick Shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have heard,
I
I
know
have in
this
fact
one.
heard about this one.
Then me too. I've
saw
also heard of
I saw
this.
it on an episode of Good Game actually a long time ago.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
where they showed how having sex with your car is actually in fact exhausting. So, yeah.
All right, cool. We did have a tie until that very last one, not the bonus round, but the one before. So I'm going to go through the scores from bottom to top. All right.
Right.
So Luke, you scored last. You had 7 points.
I think better of all of you.
I was second last with 9 points.
Ooh.
And then the winner was Christian with 11 points and Adrian had 10.
Oh, so
yay.
close.
So close.
So close.
Oh well.
Only,
I'll
I got
happily
it
take
on Project
second
Rub.
Yeah.
place. The way God intended.
Oh my god.
Hooray!
Oh.
I'd love to hear what our listeners scored at home. So it'd be really great if people would send in what their scores
Oh
were.
yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
hilarious.
send in your review of Project Rub.
Yeah. Oh my god. I'm just going to say, coming up with a title for this episode is going to be absolutely hilarious and really difficult. I'm sure I'll be able to pull out some pearlers from that list. Holy crap. That's, yeah. All right. Well,
That was great.
There's some fuel for inspiration for anyone who wants to find some non-standard games to play or create, I guess. So, I don't know, Matt, how many of those do you think have actually got potential futures as Game Jam sort of titles? Is that anything that caught your attention?
I mean, like, Stick Shift totally deserves a sequel.
Yep.
Make Let Me Bury Your Child.
Yeah.
I think quite a few of those should be buried, never to be seen again. Sure, but yeah, awesome. All right, well, yeah, that's Jank Prank, and I think we can unbury that one again in probably another 12 months and laugh our guts out again. That was hilarious. So.
Yep. Sounds good.
Nice stuff. All right. Well, anyway, that is a show. So thank you, gentlemen, for really bringing it tonight with that selection. Oh my god! I think we found something that we're all secretly a little bit too good at. All right. Well, anyway, what's everyone doing over the next week? You got any cool games coming up beyond the standard that you're looking forward to sinking some time into? What's happening in the rest of July?
The main game I'll be playing is checking myself into Sekiro withdrawal.
Yeah.
So some sort of rehab where I have to work my way off deflecting blade strikes and getting the noise of ching ching out of my head.
You need to recover your posture bar, Adrian.
I do need to recover. Yes. I'll eat some candy and recover my posture bar. That's for the Sekiro fans at home.
I'll be playing more Original Sin 2. Probably be playing that through to when Astral Chain comes out in August, I imagine. So.
Nice. Yeah, that's coming real soon. Actually, Christian, I was going to throw this to you. Given that this is something that the game is definitely compatible with, do you want to actually at some point have a crack at some of us getting together and doing like a custom built adventure in that game? Because that's part of the tool set that's available in it.
Yeah, that might be good. I'll have a look into that. We'll have a chat about that.
That's good. Matt, what do you got on?
I've got Destiny 2 to play, and I've got a Stellaris game to finish, which is basically going to take me for the rest of the year. I'm sorry.
Sweet. All right, we'll see you in a few episodes' time. I've got Destiny on as well. I know there's something on my list that I'm forgetting that's just come out. Oh, Sea of Solitude. I want to check that out this week as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been getting some reviews that are a bit all over the place. So I'm very curious to sort of jump in and have a look for that myself for that one and make a decision as to whether it's my thing or not. But I think it's one of those games that the art style will probably propel me through to a certain point, and I'll see if it actually plays well as well. So maybe chat about that next week. But in the meantime, you can catch us at all the usual locations. So hit us up at the hub at channelendgame.com and contact us with all of your scores from Jank or Prank and see how you did. So mail at partyloaded.com, at partyloaded show on Twitter, and just check us out on Facebook. Look for Party Loaded. But that's it. Any streams happening this week? I'm going to be back on with Minecraft Monday as per usual. I did miss 1 week this week. Which I'm planning on doing some streams to make up for. Now I've actually got the Elytra, so I'm flying around in that game, and with the power of flight, I can actually get on with properly building some creative stuff. So actually, I want some inspiration, guys. So over the course of the next week, I want you to think of some really cool stuff I can build in that game. So some good creative projects of things that will look really stunning on a big scale in Minecraft. So actually, if any listeners have got ideas, send them in to me as well, because I desperately need some ideas at the moment. Anything off the top of your head that's maybe not rub related?
I'm sorry, but after that last round, how could I not just say a gigantic dick? Like, that would look impressive in the large scale.
No.
Yeah, do that, but do it on a scale to hero known by man.
You can't
just make it.
You can't see the tip from the ground.
Oh god. No.
There you go. That's your project.
No, biddy, no. All right. I'm going to leave it there. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you again next week. Until then, good night.
Good night.
Bye.
The Party Loaded podcast is a Channel Endgame production. For this and more great gaming content, bookmark channelendgame.com.